Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Hawaiʻi Wildlife Center.
We get hundreds of calls 7 days a week for wildlife in need.
Gonna leave her covered up except for the right wing. We're doing physical therapy on this bird to stretch that area so it doesn't contract as it heals.
The Hawaiʻi Wildlife Center is a rehabilitation hospital for our native wildlife in Hawaii, and also an emergency response facility for larger events like oil spills. So we treat over 70 plus species and subspecies of native birds, and our only land mammal, which is the opeapea, the Hawaiian hoary bat. I graduated high school on Oahu, and I knew I had a passion for wildlife. And I ended up doing several oil spill responses here in Hawaii, and I was surprised that we didn't have a wildlife rehabilitation center. So it really handicapped our ability to properly respond. It became my mission to help develop this resource and get it built so that we are able to do both the day-to-day response to our threatened and endangered species, getting them back out into the wild, and also be available for those larger events.
The work that we do here at the Hawaiʻi Wildlife Center involves primarily rehabilitation of native and endangered species, but it does branch out to more than that. We provide care to the individual animals that need medical attention, physical therapy, but by doing so, we involve the community, both the local community and the international community, about the work that we do, the species that we work on, and at the same time letting them know essentially their stories. We are taking care of an individual, but this species is going through these difficulties in the wild, habitat loss, climate change, etc. So it involves the community by educating them what the plight of the species is.
Our wildlife hospital here takes in a variety of cases for care. We get orphaned birds like the manuoku, the white terns, that need to be raised and released. We have some wedge-tailed shearwaters chicks that are the same.
So for the baby wedge-tailed shearwaters, we feed them fish slurry. And the way we do that is we put a tube that goes straight into their stomach and we bypass their crop. It's similar to how they're fed in the wild in that their parents will fill their crop and feed them digested fish. But we don't want them to become accustomed to us, so when we pick them up, we try to cover their face, have them not associate our hands with food. Because of that, it can be alarming to the bird. When they're handled, they don't want to be picked up. And so a lot of times they'll start a defensive cry.
Which is normal and good behavior, because we don't want them to associate us as like friends, family, anything like that. So we don't treat them like pets, we don't talk to them, we don't baby them. We strictly go in there and do as little that we can with them. Just get them fed, in, out, and done.
The other birds we get are usually human-caused injuries, whether it's impact with cars, buildings, barbed wire fences.
So she has spinal trauma of some sort. She ran into a window in Waimea. She was found on the ground and she couldn't walk or fly. When we got her, she wasn't able to stand or anything. She was actually laying on her side. So right now, this is kind of like a reflex test that we're doing, and it's kind of a natural thing that animals will do. When you drag their limb against the edge of the table, they'll naturally want to bring it up and put it down. So we're just trying to encourage her to do that reflex and get those feet down properly. You can see like her talons and her toes are pretty balled up, so we want her to extend them out onto the table flat. We're trying to give her the natural motion of walking in a more upright position.
Occasionally there are malicious incidents.
We got a report about a down hawk. He had a wing injury. It appears from the x-rays that the wrist is shattered. From what I can take from the x-ray, it looks like he's been shot, unfortunately.
I think one of our biggest challenges is that because we're on Hawaiʻi Island, the majority of people don't know about us, they don't see us. And so I think that's our biggest challenge, is getting the word out that this resource exists. We run with a small team. Now there's 6 of us now, so we rely on volunteers and interns and the general public for the vast majority of what we do.
She's right here. Okay.
I've been fortunate with the staff. They are as passionate as I am about native wildlife, and they're such a joy to work with, and their enthusiasm keeps me motivated. One of the fun things we do is our social media. We have daily posts, and they're daily snippets of what it's like to be around our native species, some of their personality traits, some of their beauty, some of the cases that we get. And it's usually upbeat and fun, and you won't be disappointed. It'll be something to look forward to.
One of the things that I enjoy about the work that I do here is when I am able to successfully help a patient out medically without causing suffering to the animal, and then have it be released at the end.
You know, for us, working with wild animals, it's different than people who work with domestic animals. You know, you have dogs, cats, they wag their tails, they lick you, they purr. With wildlife, they're not real happy to be in captivity. This is foreign to them. Our biggest day and our happiest day is when we get to release them back into the wild. And they tend to take off and leave without looking back and saying thank you, but that's our happiest moment.
This is a wedge-tailed shearwater, or uukani. The bird came down, probably distracted by artificial lighting. There was a little bit of blood at the vet's office on Oahu coming from her nose. We just made sure her blood values were good, her weight was okay, and did our physical to make sure that she looked fine.
It's a little nerve-wracking as well. Since they've been in care for a while, we really like to make sure that they're 100% ready to go before we even try. On the days where we get to release birds, it feels really special because you get to see all of the hard work of rehab and watch them fly away strong when they might not have made it otherwise. So that's really, really rewarding to see.
I never knew we would have this many patients because we have so many endangered species. So we're really looking forward to expanding. The biggest hope for us at the Hawaiʻi Wildlife Center is that we can help develop that appreciation of native wildlife and why the biodiversity is so important, not only to Hawaii but to the world. Having a diverse amount of species in an area enhances all of our lives. The stronger our environment is by the amount of biodiversity we have. And so losing a species forever is a huge loss, and it can't be replaced. So we always hope that the exposure to the native wildlife we have will build that appreciation and teach us how to be better neighbors with wildlife.